Hey, good morning, everybody. Today we're going to be taking a look at SCHF16. It's a pretty beefy neck knife, so stay tuned, guys. We're going to put this thing through some paces and see if it's any good. Okay, guys, now this knife is a neck knife. So we'll get into some quick basics here. We'll do some quick measurements. Has an overall length of 7 inches. The blade widthness, well, I mean, it varies because we do have a bit of a drop point here, but that's approximately 1.5 inches wide. Thickness, we have 1/8 of an inch. It's got D10 handle scales, full tang, it has a lanyard hole, and this is a nice little exposed section there in case you have to do something like you can use this to pulverize some walnuts or something like that. It's not sharp. That's a little bit, but it's not going to strike a rod. But the large jimping here, and this is aggressive enough to strike a rod. Now, it has a fairly acute tip. Came very sharp. I've had this for several years now, probably going on around 5 years. I never carried it much because it's too heavy. It's a taco style sheath, and this thing is touted as a neck knife. A little heavy, a little big, a little heavy for me personally, but depends on what your preferences are or what you may find necessary where you live. To me, this is nice, more like an EDC kind of fixed blade, and I do have a few belt loops that do go through these that I can actually, if I want, I can belt carry this. Though it's a little awkward since it's not made to be belt carried because of how high the handle rides up. But, there's options. Now, I'm not sure if they're still making these. But, like I said, I've got mine around 5-6 years ago. But real quick, we'll grab a piece of wood here and see if we can do some feather sticks. All right, here we go, guys. Let's see what we can do. Now, I have in the past done a lot of wood whittling with this blade, and it performed pretty decent, and it actually holds its edge surprisingly well. And I can't for the life of me remember the steel. I'm pretty sure it's more of a budgetary type kind of steel. But they did do good on their tempering and heat treat, that sort of thing. So they actually got some pretty good performance out of it. So that's actually pretty decent performance right there. All right, guys, we're going to take what little bit we got left of the ugly stick here. We're just going to start hogging off some material. I think it may be getting about time to retire the old chunk of ugly stick we got left. We're pretty much down to just about bark. Let's get a more substantial piece here. Actually, let's just break in the new ugly stick here because we got a lot of uneven bad spots in this thing. It'd be a pretty good test to chunk out some of that. Well, thus far, it's performing pretty good. Okay, that's not too bad. Whoop. Shooting stuff at the camera, guys. Sorry. All right, so far in that test, I think it aced. Now, by the way, this is it's almost got a hollow grind. It seems like it was sort of like a flat, but they very slightly hollowed it, so it is quite slicey. We're going to just take this small piece here. We're just going to do a little bit of battening. I think a knife like this should be able to at least withstand some light duty battening in case you needed to get a fire going. So we are going to do that. So like I said, I'm pretty confident that I've already done it multiple times with this blade, so I know it can actually handle it. So let's come in here. We'll just split it right dead center. So yeah, there we go. That performed that test really well. And we'll go ahead and take this nice sharp edge here. Since we batted it through there, it's a good way to see if we did any dulling of the edge. We'll try to make some slices instead of just straight pushes. That way, if there's a real bad spot there, we can find it. Rotate just a little bit, catch that new edge. That seems like it did a good job of me. Some good size cordage here, guys. Be a pretty good cut test, I think. So let's get in here and see what we can do. I'm going to just do kind of like a straight pull back on here. That's not doing great, but it's a decent bit of pressure there. That was nowhere near as smooth as I like, but this is pretty tough. Let's put it on the wood anvil here and see if we can kind of do a little slice through. Pretty decently clean cut. All right, let's do that again. Try to find a spot that's a little more level in there. That way all the blade can contact. Still getting some decent cuts. All right, now we're going to take a section of this and I'm going to draw through. If the end has not been melted. So now we're just going to do a pull cut. Oh yeah, that was way easy compared to the trying to force it through. Cardboard, guys, still got plenty of this left, so figure might as well just keep doing some cut tests for the outhouse reviews with it. There we go. See how fine of a little piece I can bring off there. I can't even see it. There we go. Now let's push that all the way off. Very little resistance. Let's get us a bigger cut here and we'll see how clean this cut is. That's pretty decent. Let's do a few more of these. Starting to feel just a touch drag, but I don't know, it's weird because it's still making clean cuts. All right, so as usual when I do this is roughly about the time I go ahead and cut some hair off the old arm here because, we've already done a bunch of cutting. We've worked through some wood, some cardboard. So I think this is good time as any to see if she'll still shave some hair. Still haven't recovered from all the other bald spots I got. All right, that did cut here. I felt some, most of it I guess got on the knife blade. I did feel the tiniest bit of dragging when it was cutting the hair about through here-ish, this was doing most of the work, and this was doing a lot of the cutting when we was doing feather sticks, and the tip part was still, by far the sharpest, so there was minimal wear on that, though keep in mind it was still sharp enough to shave hair with. Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about design here. It has quite a large choil, and almost puts me in mind of the coffin handle grip on old traditional Bowie knives. It's squarish, but they did round this off nice. We have some deep groove texturing here to help keep your grip if by chance your hands are slick or just without working in the rain. It feels the hand. It's a little bit lacking for my mitts, but I can get a decent enough lock on it. I don't get a lot of hand fatigue, and the handle is long enough, getting up in there deep in that choil. Pinky is just about on this little exposed part, but like I said, I got extra large hands. Most people's hands, this would be more than enough, and it's enough that I don't have a problem with it. It's a little different, but I kind of like it. It does great because, like I said, I've whittled a lot of wood with this after I'd gotten it, and I found that I got very, very little fatigue from it. So now the question would be, how's it score? Like it functioned pretty well for all the tests we did. And mind you, I understand these are pretty basic tests, but I only got so much time to in a review to do some basic stuff. But it performed these all pretty well, and the only issue I think I can take with it is using it as a neck knife. I'm not too crazy about that because of its weight. The size is just perfect for like a EDC small fixed blade carry for like your belt. I can say it's dependable because I've had it for several years. I've cut a lot of wood with it. I've opened boxes with it. I've done all the general knife tasks with it. To be wary of, obviously, is that very acute edge or tip there. You want to be careful. Don't get this in a prying situation. Granted, if it does snap off, you could always take a file or some stones and put a tip back on it. But, it's best not to be put in that situation, especially if you're out in the woods. It's kind of one of your pieces of your survival kit. Just be wary of that tip. But like I said, in general, the functions really well. Let's get that in the frame for you guys. Sorry. It cuts very well. We get these nice, thin, straight little curly cues, little streamers. Stuff dries out real easy. Not bad. Like I said, only thing I would do, I'd rig you up a belt loop. It's surprisingly heavy for its size. It's got a lot of handle weight. Like I'm going to say like 75% of the weight's in the handle, or 70% at least. But that allows for good control. It's very pleasant to use. All right, guys. With that, we'll cut this off here. If this is still available, as far as keep in mind, like I said, you need to understand that you're going to wear this around your neck. You're going to feel it for a while until you adapt to it. But if you want to modify it for a belt carry, I think that's a real good option. And if you're interested in that, I'd say probably Amazon or eBay be your best bet. I know there's a long line of knives that Schrade no longer carries or produces. But if you can't get a hold of one of these, I think it's worth the money. Get that close up there so you can see that number on it there. So with that, guys, thank you very kindly for watching, and I will see you in another video.